If they do that, they're going to be very, 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 very tough to beat.
Wilson! Oh! And we are tied!
Let's go!
Call them Phi Slamma Jamma.
And I don't ever let them forget where we come from.
Getting those phones out. Report me acting ignorant.
Deyon Kris got his way through, and he may go! Kris is in! Houston leads out of nowhere! Seventh heaven for Houston. The Cougars advance to their seventh Final Four. Go Coogs! Let's go! It's so good! The dream remains alive for the Houston Cougars!
Welcome to this edition of Let's Rage Coogs. Oh,
Yeah.
What does that mean, Andy? What is this?
No, just leave it. The one that's on the screen is fine. Of
Okay.
course, the moment we go live, the stupid computer wants to work, but you know that's what it is about it being live. Yeah, Houston, they took care of business. They went to Stillwater, they beat up a pretty bad Oklahoma State team. They shook off the tough loss to Texas Tech last week, and they did what a good team is supposed to do. They beat up a bad Cowboys team. They never really gave them hope after the second quarter, and they never looked back.
And for everybody joining us, he is Andy Yanez. I'm KG Kris Gardner, and with me is Dayon Dunlap Sr. and UH running back alum extraordinaire, Bryce Beall. Bryce, your thoughts on the Cougs' 39-17 win over Oklahoma State?
Just picking up what Andy said, they did what they were supposed to do versus a bad team. But I looked at the inner inside the game, what I saw differently than I've been saying. Maybe it was a bad team, but it seemed like we took chances down the field.
Mm-hmm.
Connor probably the best he's ever looked since he was at Bridgeland, and that's high school. He looked confident. He stepped in his throws. He was throwing the ball down the field. Even the incompletions, he was throwing the ball down the field, stretching the field a little bit. Which of course gave Dean Connors did a good job early in the game, like opening up the pass, especially that second quarter when he was pounding and pounding and pounding it, and then we take a shot to Thomas and get down the field. But that's how I felt like we should have played versus prior. We didn't have enough time in the prior game, but I think they did a better job scheming, max protecting, and then our 2 to 3 man routes getting down the field, and it paid off big for us today. And if we can do that versus, I mean, you don't have to score 39, 40 points every week, but if you show on film that you will stretch the field, it opened up a lot of your game for your quick game, your run game. So I was happy to see that. I was happy that I didn't play with their food, is what we say. Don't play with your food, just go in there and eat it right away. And that's what they did. They went in, they took care, they went and ate, and they got off the field. They didn't play with it. They didn't let a bad team hang around because you never know in that building what happens. Now we had magic when I was playing there, going there upsetting the number 5 team. That's not the number 5 team, but we used to going to Stillwater and taking care of business, and we did that, and I was proud to see that.
Dayon?
Yeah, to piggyback off there, I think I was happy to see Connor's accuracy. He's very decisive with his throws and decision making and his confidence. I mean, we heard the broadcast say how they said this. He told the offensive line, "Hey, we're going to score on every drive from here on out," and he proceeded to go out and make big throws. Got a big run by Connors, big catch by Connors, and also just his accuracy, like Bryce was saying, even his incompletions was very accurate, very decisive with his throws, and very confident. And I think that spread it out throughout the whole offense, but throughout the defense as well. I think they only scored on that trick play early in the game, so they were confident, like, hey, we just stay true to our keys, not give any explosive play. I think they knew that they could stop that team. So I was very impressed, specifically with Connor and how the defense kind of buckled down after giving up that big touchdown on their first drive on that trick play.
Andy?
They hit all the points, right? Connor Wakeman, good to see him bounce back after he was sidelined most of the week with a concussion. Worked his way. Head coach Willie Fritz mentioned it in the postgame interview that he did with the TNT broadcast after. I mean, he really didn't practice for much of the week, and he still was able to go out there and show out. Amari Thomas, the Cowboys had no answer for him. He had 7 catches, 157 yards, was running all over the field. It was good to see finally a vertical threat that Houston kept attacking and attacking and attacking. Like Dayon mentioned, the TNT broadcast said that Connor Wegman, I believe they had gone 3 and out on back-to-back possessions. The game was tied at 10, and then they said that Connor Wegman, before they went out to the following drive, he told his offensive lineman, "We're going to score points from here on out every single time." And he went on, and Houston scored 6 of their next 7 drives. They came away with points, and that one that they didn't was at the end of the half where Kobe Young caught the ball. He just happened to have caught it out of bounds on that Hail Mary right before halftime. So that big kudos to Connor Wegman and the offense for going out there. And this is the most clean performance that we've seen all season long, I think, from the offense. They were just moving the ball at will against the Cowboys. Defense made its plays after that first drive where Oklahoma State kind of caught them by surprise. They held them to 10 points the rest of the way. You couldn't have asked for a better win. Now it's ready to move on to Arizona and homecoming.
And more credit to the defense after the bobble snap by the punter, by Liam.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Because that could have been a momentum swing right there. And the defense said, no, we got this. Don't worry about it. So a lot of positives. Bryce, I want to ask you I know you're an offensive guy, but on a trick play that worked for Oklahoma State for that touchdown, what did not go right for the Cougs?
They weren't on their toes. They had their eyes in the backfield, and when you do that and you're not ready and you're not prepared, things like that happen. I felt like I felt like U of H. They knew the U of H would be aggressive, and that's something they probably planned all week, and they knew at the right time when they were going to call that. You could, I don't want to, in a weird way, you can feel it coming because I think they knew that was the only way they was going to be able to score on U of H is about to do something like that by having a trick play, and I don't think we were dialed in, locked in as we should, and was ready for it. And when things like that happen, that just let me know that one team saw something on film that they liked, and we're the same way when we game plan on defense. We were like, what is it? If it's a turnover, is it something in the game that we can gain momentum? What kind of play? What kind of shot play? What kind of trick play can we get? And we try to find the weakness on. That's exactly what they did.
I was going to bring up Joe's second comment first, but I like that one as well about kind of Wegman bouncing back. But yeah, what do y'all think about TNT's overall coverage and how the game looked and everything like that, the broadcast?
Yeah, I loved it. I actually think I I would love to see more of it. I like the move. Like it was really good. It was different. He used to being basketball on there, so like seeing football and them covering it. Eventually, they'll get more talent to cover the games, but overall, I think it was a really good job on TNT.
Dayon, what do you think about TNT's
Yeah, I
coverage?
agree. I agree with Bryce. I think it was really good. Golick Jr. He used to work for ESPN, so familiar with his voice, and so I think it was really good. It was different, and I liked it. Just to start, the fan interaction they showed with the paddles. I liked it. It was different. Like Bryce said, you used to TNT, you think basketball, and so them kind of shift to continue to get more eyes on that network. I like their coverage. I definitely like. I think they'll continue to get more games.
And it's part of today's matchup. Probably previously would have been on ESPN Plus, but
Yeah.
as part of the deal that Brett Yormark got with TNT, ESPN, and the move from basketball NBA going away from TNT, Yormark stepped in and said, "Oh, I know you guys need some content," so he did like a business trade and got 13 games, football games that would have been on ESPN Plus on TNT. So this is part of it. So most of them are conference games, and I like the coverage. I like the pregame show, and you said they had a little postgame show as well. I like that. So it's a great look for TNT to be another linear platform for the conference. I think get more and more fans used to Big 12 football games being on TNT and get more eyeballs on it. So you can get ratings, good ratings, get at least a million viewers per game. it's a win-win for everybody, I think.
Agreed, and it
Absolutely,
really
man.
benefits. Go ahead, Bryce.
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
No, the only thing I was gonna say is that I feel like the Big 12 benefits from the fact that they really get to hyper focus on one matchup week in and week out. So they do a great job production wise. You saw even in their pregame show, all the different in depth stories that they had on Houston and specifically what they did, really following the program all week long, and they had a lot of in depth features throughout the game, and that's just one of the benefits of them being able to hyper focus on one matchup each week.
It is great, and I think Justin made the initial comment about it being a part of yeah, it was part of the ESPN sub licensing, but some folks either don't like ESPN Plus, the streaming doesn't work for them where they live. Some folks don't like the fact that it's on ESPN Plus, period. Rather than
Hmm.
on
And
a
plus, because
team.
you gotta have a subscription to watch the ESPN Plus. To go to a network with most people, if you have cable or YouTube
Yeah, that's what I'm
TV,
saying.
you have access. Yeah, yeah, that's a good. Oh, I'm sorry, that's a good.
So no. I mean, it's a win-win for everybody. For those who don't want to pay for ESPN Plus, who have whatever you want to call it, a regular tier, a basic plan, a linear package, whatever. TNT works. So I mean, the Big 12 is now on TNT, ESPN, Fox. I think basketball season, men's games will be on. Some will be on NBC as well as CBS Sports and CBS. So this is another part of Commissioner Yormark's plan to have more conference games, football and men's basketball on the linear platforms. So yes, it's great for the SEC to be on like just one network, and the Big Ten to be on three or whatever. But Big 12 is on five. It's just a question of Big 12 letting their fans know where to find the games and everybody watching those games to get those viewers numbers up. But Oklahoma
Absolutely.
State is a
It
bad
made it
football
like
team,
it
and the
made it
Cougs.
very easy. Oh, they're a horrible football team. Like you could, and I'm really surprised that those guys even showed up now, and especially in the transfer portal era now. If something like our head coach quit during our time and we were bad, I've never seen that stadium, Blue Pig Stadium, like that empty. Like when we used to be in there, they had some of the rowdiest fans that we ever encountered because their stadium is so close to the sidelines where you can literally hear everything they're telling you. They can hear our huddle and everything. That was I've never seen Boom Fingers like that, and I think it just trickled out on the team. That they had no energy. And once we shot up 2014, I knew it was ball game. That they were shot, dude. Like they done emptied the clip with their trick play. They done got the formal point. Everything happened for them, and it still looked up. It's a 10-10 ball game. So um, that's a bad football team. I don't think they'll probably win a game for the rest of the year. I hate to see it because I think for so many years I respect Coach Gandhi. He recruited me. He done a great job of what he done for that program, but it's gonna really take a guy to come in there and really rebuild that thing.
And your thoughts from this, guys? I think this is a get right game for the Cougs. It's advantage, as Bryce said. The Cougs did not play with their food. I think next Saturday against Arizona, Houston could really put themselves in that second tier this year for Big 12 football. They do that because they're
Agreed.
not in the bottom anymore. We saw the bottom today, clearly. Houston Cook football is much, much further along than Oklahoma State. Beat
Yep.
Arizona next Saturday, lock in that second tier, and then move onward next season.
I can't tell you if a 6-1 start what it would do for that program. Recruiting rise right before the you had to sign in early December, so you have a chance to go into people and say, listen, we're 6-1 right now, and this we call it flip season. This is the time right now you flip commits right now. So if there's a guy that's on the border between you and let's say a rival like Baylor or a rival like TCU in the conference, and you're 6-1, and you can say, hey, this is where we're in the conference. Now everything that they preached on from year one to year two, you have the evidence showing. all right, this is where we're at. Now we had a soft schedule, but the high school kids don't understand that. They just understand. They see, oh, they 6-1. There was a packed stadium last game versus Texas Tech. I see you already moving in
Hmm.
the right direction. So this next coming game is so huge for us.
Dan, what do you think about Bryce?
Yeah, no, I agree. And I think just to add on to that, the explosive plays that we had today. I think from the
Hmm.
outing that we had last week against Tech, then you bounce back, Connor's healthy, you have more explosive plays. I think that adds to the 5-1 start. Then next week you build from what you did today at home, homecoming, another good outing offensively, defensively, win the game. I think to Bryce's point, it would only entice recruiting and just the vibe around the program even more, from the fans to the recruits to the coaching staff and even to the current players, to understand, okay, we can keep winning out the rest of our schedule and meet whoever in the Big 12 championship. So I definitely think that it's important. But I think it's not. I think it's important in many different aspects.
How about this comment? I'm curious y'all take on this from Mr. Big Texco. Still way too many mistakes, especially in the red zone.
Yeah,
I think
I mean,
that's what's
I
keeping
don't
them.
disagree with it. I feel like yeah, I think that's what's keeping us from being really, really good offensively. Is that right
Yeah.
now we're set up for too many threes, and there's nothing wrong. There's nothing wrong with kicking field goals. We tell our players we always want to end a possession and kick. Either want to punt the ball or kick the ball for a field goal or kick it for an extra point. Because if you're doing that, that means you're not giving them good field position or you're scoring points. So I don't disagree with him saying it, but you have to be the better team score in the red zone. You wear teams down, and moral victories happen within the game, whether people admit it or not. If you're a defense and you don't break and you give up three, you feel really good about yourself. When you give up seven, that kind of brings the moral down, and we have to do a better job of finishing drives. Like it's been a story of the first era right now. Really, is how we handle the short goal line to score situations and how we handle 4th and 1s and 3rd and 1s. We haven't really been really efficient in those areas that we need to really get better at. So I agree. I feel like as well that we have to get better uh, in the red zone. But hey, nothing's going to take away from scoring. This has to be a career high for us in the first era right now.
Question for Bryce: do you feel
Oh
like we've
yeah.
established an identity offensively yet?
What do you say? I didn't hear him.
Say it again, Dan.
Really, for everyone, do you feel
I
like
can't
we've
hear him.
established an identity yet offensively, of what we want to do, how we want to attack?
Um, More games like today, I think helps. I think that because really, I mean, I'm still not sure what the offense's identity is. Sometimes running
I
game
think
looks good. Sometimes the pass game looks good. Sometimes they're not aggressive enough. Today's opponent helped, maybe in some of that play calling and aggression, and I'll take that. Andy, what do you say? Bryce, what do you say?
no, I was gonna say in terms of what it seems like they want their identity to be is for them to be have an effective rushing attack, kind of open things up, and then from there play action, do a lot of play action, and that's when they take their deep shots. So far, what we've seen in the spurts where they've had the most success is when they have a lot more spread out receivers, tight ends, and they have their weapons in Amari Thomas, Tanner Colzio, and Stephon Johnson, whether it be in slants or Amari Thomas going deep down the field. Tanner Colzio continues to showcase not only his hands, but dude, he's just a massive weapon for this Houston offense. And I feel like they're at their best when they're passing the ball first, spreading defenses out, and then that opens up the running lanes for guys like Dean Connors, Jamarion Burnett had a lot more carries tonight. Um, and even in the spurts, right? Thinking back to Oregon State last 6 minutes when they made that comeback, that's when Houston was at its best. I don't know if that's fully their identity yet, especially when we're talking about the top tier teams. Uh, Texas Tech really controlled the battle of the trenches in that game, and that's why Houston really offensively, even before Connor Wegman went down with the concussion, really struggled to move it offensively. But when they connected on that one deep shot to Kobe Young, that's where they were able to catch Texas Tech and put themselves in a chance to score a touchdown, which they ultimately did not.
Yeah, I can't say it's an identity until you see it multiple weeks in a row.
Hmm.
I will have to see that they're being aggressive in a row. Maybe they could say, well, we couldn't versus Tech and we knew how good their defensive line was, so our game plan was this. But the thing is, for 2 years, we haven't seen anything that says that say, okay, we're trying to do this, we're gonna do this. It's been all over the place, and I think this is a great start for them to see on film. Okay, when we take shots down the field, even if you're not successful, we say it all the time. If we throw five deep balls and we catch one of them, that I will take that. That means you have an explosive for your first five plays. You got to have 3 to 4 explosive to have, and I feel like we have lacked that in this era right now. And I think if they put on film, they see that okay, we can have these explosive and what it does to our whole entire team, and what it did for Connor. Like Connor today looked like a legit quarterback. And I think because they gave him a chance to make legit throws and down the field throws. So kind of pick up what Andy said a little bit, like throwing to open up the run. I think teams know Fritz wants to run the ball. So if you come out and you throw the ball and you loosen up that defense and you soften it up, then you can bring the hammer in and Mr. Connors and then he can do what he do best and that's run downhill.
And it's good to see Marion Burnett because you can see the explosiveness he has when he hits that hole as well. So getting him back is another weapon for the offense. Yes, the O line is a concern. It's probably the weakest link of the team right now, the offensive line overall. Part of that's injuries. Part of that is lack of chemistry. Part of that, it could
I
be
think it
some
was too much. I think
schemes.
early in the year he was rotating them too much. I think when you play the O line, you have to build the O line. You have to build continuity. They can't. You can't be shuffling like he was doing at the beginning of the year. You shuffle different groups, they're not going to play as a unit. Every five guys got to play on the string. They
Agree.
all got to be on the string. They
Hmm.
got to be moving in the right direction. They got to know the combos. And they got to have a feel for each other. And I think early on the first couple games, I was watching them subbing in our center, subbing in our goal. Like, what are you doing? I don't like. I understand you got portal guys. You probably promised them this playing time, promised them money. But at the end of the day, you got to play your five. You got to figure out who your five best is, and you got to build that group up and let them play together and let them get reps together.
Because everybody can see the difference when the O line does their job and is on a string. Because when they're clicking, Wegman is rolling, slinging the ball around, being accurate, get a chance to throw deep passes. I mean, it's a night and day difference when the O line is not committing false starts, is not getting blown off the line of scrimmage, is not committing a holding penalty. We can see the difference. And going back to what a lot of my brothers said so far, it was great leadership by Connor and a great pickup by the sideline reporter. What Connor said to the offensive line, let's get it right. We're going to score points the rest of this game, every drive. And he went out and did it. And they backed him up on that. They protected him, and he went out and scored. So that is another positive sign. And we see how important he is to the offense because last
Hmm.
Saturday, we were all concerned about, well, if he doesn't play today, can
Yeah.
Chris Gramillion get it done against Oklahoma State? We see the difference.
Yep. Real quickly, let's take this opportunity to first and foremost thank everybody that's taking the time to comment here on this edition of Let's Rage Coogs. This is Let's Rage Coogs presented by the Saxenian Family. Big thank you to Steve Saxenian for being the primary sponsor of not only this edition of Let's Rage Coogs, but each and every single football post-game show this year. Big thank you to Star Pizza, Mike and Jennifer Pittman, for being sponsors on today's episode with 3 different locations throughout the Houston area. Star Pizza is your go-to stop before and or after the game. Check them out online at starpizza.net to see their various daily specials and check out what they're offering on their menu. Looking at the stats for this game, just again, complete domination by Houston, 485 total yards of offense, 319 through the air, 166 on the ground, 25 first downs compared to just 10 that Oklahoma State had. Houston wasn't that. If there's one area that they really struggled in was their efficiency on third down. They converted just 5 of 16 on third downs, but they were efficient on fourth down. They went 2 of 3 tonight or today in this game. Red zone 6 for 6, like we mentioned, maybe too many field goals than we would like, but ultimately they're taking care of the ball. They're not turning it over, and they're still coming away with points, which well, we looked at 2 weeks ago before Texas Tech. That's one of the areas that Houston is really good at. When they get in the red zone, they're taking care of the ball. They're coming away with points. Prior to this game, they just weren't getting into the red zone enough, and I think we all agree they're still starting too much for field goals once they get down there, like we saw. It really is going to bite them in the butt whenever they start playing the top tier teams in the Big 12, like they did last week against Texas Tech. I felt like they needed to score a touchdown when it was 9-0 early. They got down there, they had to settle for a field goal, and I'm sure Tech felt like it was a win. Um, and then looking at the turnover battle, Houston won that as well with the one interception that they forced, and Oklahoma State had 5 fumbles. They didn't lose a single one, but 5 fumbles. It's absurd. So again, just top to bottom is complete domination. Connor Wegman, 21 to 30, 306 passing yards, 2 passing touchdowns. He also had a rushing touchdown to go along with it. Dean Connors led the way in rushing, 15 carries, 83 yards, and a rushing touchdown. He also had that nice receiving touchdown. The one-handed kind of mirrored Odell Beckham and then brought it down into the was able to get both of his hands on it on the way down. Amari Thomas led the way with receiving 7 catches, 157 yards, like I said earlier. Tanner Colzio right behind him, 5 catches for 66 yards. So again, full balance attack. There was a comment by Wanda, I believe she said it earlier in the show, but she's glad that all 3 quarterbacks got to play today in this win for Houston. We got to see Austin Carlisle for the first time.
Yeah, I mean, I was happy to see him. I know you get 4 games before
Hmm.
you can before they have the red shirt you. They're going to red shirt, and so I thought it would be the perfect opportunity to let them use all 4 games and see what you have and see what you can build and see if you can. My long brother Juice told me when he was at Texas A&M, he was there when they first got Gentleman's He said we didn't fully know what we had him as. And we knew it was this kid who was crazy talented in practice, at running around, and he was just a playmaker. But we slipped up and let him take control of the reins one day. He said, truthfully, none of us had going in that he was going to be the starting quarterback, and then bam, he takes the reins and take off. And I feel like similarly that could happen if they ever get a chance. I'm gonna stay on that train. I've been driving since last year with him, but it was good. It was good to finally see him get in the game, and who knows? Maybe we may. I'm not saying he can be the next Johnny Manziel. Maybe we may slip up on a talented quarterback who I felt like the last couple of years was the best quarterback in the city.
Yeah, it was great. And I think on that QB draw that he got, you see a little, just a glimpse of that explosiveness and his elusiveness. And so I've been itching to see him to get out there and see what he looked like because I trust Bryce in his word, and I haven't seen him like Bryce seen him. So I just want to see him to be able to get my eyes on him. And the little glimpse that I've seen today, I want to see more of him. I mean, you got what, 3 more games to get him out there, and in the era of the transfer portal. I mean, it's tough. I'd say that it's tough.
For that short amount of time that he was there, he ended up being the second leading rusher for Houston, right behind Dean Connors at 25 rushing yards in the short amount of time that he was on the field. One other thing that I forgot to mention: time of possession, Houston dominated uh, 36 to 23 minutes in this outing, and then the final note with this win, Houston obviously improves to 5-1. They're 2-1 in Big 12 conference play. The 5 wins is more than Houston has had the past 2 seasons, going back to 2022 when they won 8 games, I believe. So Houston heading in the right direction. They have more wins than last season in year one of Willie Fritz, and they're 1 win away from becoming bowl eligible.
Y'all keep on talking. I'm gonna try to add something to the show here. Y'all keep on going.
What about the
Bryce.
defense? I know we've talked a lot
Mhm.
about the
Yeah,
offense. I think defensively,
get to a bowl game would be huge. Like, we always said, and our coaches, I know they really preached about it, was being a bowl allows you at least 3 to 4 extra weeks to practice. So
Mhm.
it got a chance, especially when you're building a program. It gives you that extra time for the young guys who even redshirted to get practice during the bowl. Because after the bowl game, anybody can play. So it allows your young guys and your scout team guys who redshirted to get a chance to play football in December and practice and possibly play in the bowl game. Because a lot of time teams they have players who opt out and different things like that. So being getting bowl eligible, being able to extend your season, being able to have a say in the Big 12 race will be huge for us. And I think and I'm hoping that we're able to do that, man. I know next week's gonna be a huge week for the guys, and I'm pretty sure they're gonna be fired up big time to get to that 6 wins. I mean, you don't talk about it as much because you don't want to set your limits on 6 wins, but when you get close, when you get to the fifth win, you have that talks within the locker room. Okay, we know we get bowl gifts if we get this dub, so I think that'd be a huge motivation for the players and especially the fan base. I think that we can get a little excited that we have a product on the field. It may not be the best product we want right now, but it's winning right now, and winning 6 or 7 would be huge for the entire process of building this thing like what Fritz want to build it.
Damn, what were you gonna ask about the defense?
I mean, not for sure. I think just to piggyback on that, but going like kind of shifting to the defense, but really just to piggyback on that point, I think the importance of that, it just kind of shows or it adds to the transitioning of a new era. I think the first year was the first year. Now in the second year, we've heard on numerous of broadcasts, of course, of all of us covering the Cougs, we know how successful Coach Fritz has been in his second year. So to be able to do that in Houston, along with the momentum that he has on the recruiting side, and then you play on the field, you get bowl eligible now. That's another check mark off your goal list. Now let's keep going. Now let's not limit ourselves. Now let's look to continue to get to that Big 12 championship. Let's win the conference to really establish ourselves in the conference and build even more momentum going forward. And so I think that's a great point. But defensively, I
Um,
was going to say that I think for back-to-back years under the Fritz era, defensively, we've been really good. I mean, we've lost some NFL talent in the portal on this defense, but I still haven't seen any drop-off. I think our D line is really good. Our linebackers are flying around. Our secondary is good. And against a good opponent last week, we even competed really well. So I think defensively, I expect us to even get even more recruits. I know there's recruits out there announcing their decision and got UH in their top three, top five. And so I'm excited.
Jalen Gardner had a really good game for Houston. He was a monster. He had 7 total tackles, 2 sacks, 2 tackles for loss, had broke up a pass, and he forced 2 different fumbles. And then Carlos Allen Jr. He had, I guess, technically they didn't call it a sack. I think the quarterback for Oklahoma State got to the line of scrimmage, but he had one hell of a tackle in the third quarter, I believe, where he just wrapped up Oklahoma State's quarterback and brought him down. Like that, I know for a fact that they're going to feel that tomorrow morning, that hit. And just overall, Corey Platt Jr., of course, he's he's been making big plays for Houston all season. It's good to see him after he had to miss all of last season. And like you said, Dayon, there's been no drop off considering the storyline when it comes to the defense heading into the year was how are they going to make up for those 2 great corners that obviously entered the transfer portal, did not return to Houston. And I mean, they kept mentioning during fall camp that, listen, we might not have the quote unquote brand name that we had last year, but we have a lot of guys that are hungry, that are ready to prove. And so far, they've done a great job.
Yeah, they really have. They really have. And I think that's probably the strength of our defense, probably our secondary. I still feel like in our front four, we don't really get much. pressure on the quarterback with our front four. We get some. I think our front four is stout, especially against the run with our two defensive tackles. I mean, they're both of them guys. Big fans of them guys. I think both of them can play on Sundays. And so I'm just excited to see us to keep building. I mean, with Carlos Allen in the middle, I mean, he's playing on Sundays in my book. I think he can, and so I'm excited to keep going. I mean, and Khalil Lafau, both of those two guys are anchors in the middle, and they're able to hold blocks and let our linebackers to run freely. Our defense is really good. I mean, it's no drop off on our defense for sure.
We mentioned that secondary. Trayvon McCutcheon was the player who had the great pick. And Control Webb is you mentioned potentially Houston if the stars align, still having a chance of making a run into the Big 12 championship, which if they do would be one hell of an accomplishment. But I remember last week after they lost to Texas Tech, Control Webb was one of the two players that spoke after, and the level of just one, you could tell that the loss was itching. Like it was, you could tell he was bothered by the way that Texas Tech came in there at TDCU Stadium and quite frankly dominated them. But what really stood out to me was, listen, we have a chance to see this team again later down the season, and obviously the only way that would happen is if they meet in the Big 12 championship game, and that just to me shows the mentality of this football team. They have confidence in themselves. They have a high ceiling for themselves, and I think that's the big thing where. Going back to what we mentioned earlier about Connor Wegman and what he told his offensive lineman and was reported in the Big 12 the TV broadcast, that's something that there's just some moxie about this team that, and it's a testament to Willie Fritz and the coaching staff that they've instilled in this team. And hopefully now we can start to see a snowball effect. And now we're excited for next week against Arizona. Can they carry this over? Can they have this same type of performance? Now they probably won't score 29 unanswered points against the Wildcats, but again, to have that type of consistency, that's the next step for Houston. And truly, if they are in that second tier of the Big 12 that Kris mentioned, that's what they're going to have to do, go out and prove next week against Arizona and homecoming.
And that's what that's the test. And it's a noon kickoff next Saturday.
11 a.m.
11
noon East Coast time.
That's still bad. And it's for homecoming, correct?
Correct.
Oh, homecoming is kickoff that early on FS1.
Mm-hmm.
I'm afraid of we're not gonna have a great crowd, especially a sold out crowd. Even though we should, for a home game, for homecoming, 5-1 team, one more win away from being bowl eligible in Coach Fritz's second year.
I agree with you, Kris, but I think the momentum and the outlook on the team is still there. This with Houston, and like you said at that start, most people are going to be outside. But if it wasn't homecoming, I think we would have a big crowd. So I agree. I definitely agree with you, though, Kris, for sure.
I want to be wrong. I want to be wrong on this one because this team is showing signs that the foundation, that the work that has been put in is starting to pay off. They're not at the Texas Tech tier this year, but they're showing that they are better than many teams in the Big 12. And next Saturday in the home game,
is it in the tier 1, Kris?
This year, Tech,
Iowa State,
BYU for sure. If Iowa State was healthy defensively, probably them. But I think Tech and BYU, Tech is clearly number one, and you can quibble about who's 2, 3, and 4. But some would say Arizona State might be in that tier. But the Coogs will have a chance to play Arizona State in 2 weeks and see about that on the road. Now, of course, Tech has to win tonight at home against Kansas and back up all their talk. Because, if they're having to stub their toe, I'm going to laugh my head off. But I hope they do win because it's better for the conference to have a team, really projected high in the CFP for the playoffs.
Yep. Yeah, Crabtree makes a great point about Arizona. Next week's going to be a very high caliber defensive battle. He said they have a top 30 defense. They're playing BYU tonight, so that's going to be an interesting matchup. See what the Wildcats are able to do against the other Cougars tonight. And again, that's not going to be a gimme. That's going to be a tough matchup for Houston, and it's a good litmus test to see where exactly Houston falls in the Big 12. I think we learned the hard way last week. They're not in that top tier yet, but where exactly are they? We will hopefully get a better chance to see where exactly they fall next week against Arizona.
Yeah, agreed. And again, it's on FS1, so that might keep some folks from attending the home game. But this team is playing well. The offense looked good today. Yes, Oklahoma State is not a good team at all. But the Cougs did not play with their food, and
Mm-hmm.
it wasn't a case of having to come from behind. How about this? For those who were nitpicking and boo-hooing the come from behind overtime win over Oregon State, but it was Oregon State. Had to do all this. That wasn't the case today. Okay, so they
Yeah.
they thumped a bad team today. So that's a plus for those folks. I've not heard anybody comment, those commenters from 2 weeks ago, whatever it was,
Mm-hmm.
with that remark today. So that's a plus going forward too.
Yeah, I can objectively say that the team has really progressed
Hmm.
week in and week out. I mean, kind of got hurt last week. It was against a really good Texas Tech team, but every week, in my opinion, we've seen progression in different areas of the team. I think today against a bad Oklahoma State team, we're able to put it all together and have a really good game. And so, I think just with confidence and chemistry, I think our best football is ahead of us this season.
And added to Dayon's point, the Cougs, let's see, one, two, four, five, nine different guys caught a pass today.
Mm-hmm.
Earlier in the season, it was like four, what,
It
maybe
was
four, maybe
three.
five.
It was
Yeah.
Amari Thomas. It was Tanner Kozio. I mean, maybe even three. It was Dean Connors. They couldn't get the ball to Stephon Johnson the first game and a half of the season. That's a great point, Chris. Now they're starting to spread the ball around, spread the love. It was good to see Harvey Broussard go in there and make some plays for Houston. In fall camp, he was making plays, hadn't translated, but now got to see him showcase his skill set a little bit tonight, or today, I should say, against Oklahoma State.
And what what I was trying to do was embed the clip of Dean Connor's catch so we could all talk about it here. I can't figure out how to get it to play via Twitter, but that was a hell of a catch. I mean,
Hmm.
that was a hell
Yeah.
of a catch, and he's playing well. He surprised me with some things he's doing. He showed some speed to bounce outside today. His hands are good. I like the mix with him, Burnett, and Stacy Sneed. You can see the potential weapons on offense for this team.
Yeah. DJ Butler too. I just like every
Him
time he
too,
goes
yeah.
on he
Hmm.
goes out there and he runs. It seems like it's pretty effortless. He seems to kind of glide a little bit when he goes out there. He has the little burst of speed. Um, you know, talking about this game, we haven't mentioned. I know again, not. By the way, Houston Athletics just tweeted out Amari Thomas's 157 receiving yards are the most from a Houston receiver since 2022 when Tank Dell did it against Tulsa and he had 161 receiving yards. So again, great performance by Amari Thomas. Oklahoma State had no answer for him. And what I was gonna say is shout out Ethan Sanchez again. Continues to be a rock on special teams for Houston. He Mr. Consistent, Mr. Reliable when it comes to field goals, and he did it again tonight or today again against Oklahoma State.
He's probably the best kicker in the Big 12. I think with the confidence in that special team, we know we get at least in 55 range from a 55-yard field goal and in, we got a shot and we feel very confident in that. And so just all the elements from the running perspective that you guys mentioned, every back, and you add in Connor Wegman, who's shown his dual threat ability, along with expanding the offense and throwing the ball downfield with the passing game, and his accuracy down. That pass to Cozio in the midst of three players was very, very accurate. Put it
Yeah.
only in a spot that it should get, and he went up and got it. So, I mean, I'm impressed that we getting better week in and week out. And looking at our schedule and who we play, and just looking at our team, I'm confident that we're going to be able to compete and potentially win these games. It's a different feel for me now watching this football team now that we,
Hmm.
here in Coach Fritz's second season.
And just letting everybody know, Bryce is not feeling well, so that's why he signed off, and I figured out how to switch back to this for us. But yeah, I agree. And I mean, speaking for myself, 6 games in, and you'd have told me this team would be 5-1. I'd take it for sure, but I'd be surprised and say you're probably wrong. But
Hmm.
5-1 after 6 games, got a great chance to be bowl eligible after just 7 games. Man, and you got top tier recruits looking at the program, wanting to come play for Coach Fritz, come play in Houston, play in the Big 12 at Houston. It's a different, it's a new feeling of positivity for Houston Cougars football.
Which is nice to feel after the last 2 years where it's felt really bleak.
You add in the recruiting class is very optimistic on the future as well. And so I think it's all coming together.
It's all coming together, and we're going to be along for the ride. You know, with talking about a lot more wins, post game shows after a lot more wins going forward than we did when Let's Rage Cougs first started.
Absolutely.
And we all look forward to that.
Yep.
And I agree with this. This is an accurate statement by E.I. Crabtree. The next 3 games are winnable, but they're going to have to continue to improve. But I think they will. I believe they will. I mean, Dayon brought it up minutes ago. This team is getting better week to week, and we I think we joked about it 2 shows ago, kind of using the Coach Sampson men's basketball analogy. But
Hmm.
we're seeing that. You're seeing the football team get better from game to game, week to week, as Coach Sampson has hammered into everybody's head who follows the program. His objective is the team to get better October to November, November to December, et cetera, and be playing best basketball in March. I think we're seeing that on the football side. This team is getting better. Let's see if they continue to get better next Saturday, home game against Arizona. That's a winnable game. It's a home game. Love to get to that point
Hmm.
where obviously you still have to play the games, but where it's a football game at home, at the stadium, it's a win. You look at the schedule every year, 6 home games, that's 6 wins because it's a home game, because of the crowd, because of the team, because of the coach, because of the players, the whole environment. So you get to that point, and then you say, okay, now let's see where we get 3 or 4 wins on the road. You got 9, 10 wins every year. That's where I think this program is headed.
To add on again, this team continues to improve. There's still comma next to it, not a period. Calvinism.
Oh, yeah. Comma, not a period. Yep.
Um, Real quickly, I think that's pretty much gonna do it for today's edition. Just looking across the Big 12 um, scoreboard, and like we mentioned earlier in the show, BYU Arizona, that's the big game that's gonna kick off at 7 p.m. Utah and Arizona State are playing later tonight at 9:15. So those are two Houston's next 2 opponents, and they're pretty big games for the pair of Arizona schools. It's going to be interesting to see how they do respectively in each of those games. Kansas and Texas Tech today at 9:30, and then Colorado and Iowa State are at the end of the first quarter. Colorado actually leads the Cyclones 7-0 heading into the second quarter. So That'll be interesting if Colorado can pull off the upset against Iowa State.
It would be interesting and good for Colorado, but not good for the conference.
Terrible for the Big 12.
Yeah.
Yeah, but we'll see. Still, they still got 3 quarters to go. Yeah, Crabtree too. Shout out to LaTravion McCutcheon on his first interception.
And I like that too. We gave a lot of shout outs today for different people. So that's a plus as well. That's always a good sign. You know what? We might need to, here's something I'm saying on air, but I think it's an idea for us seriously, is get someone to sponsor our like player of the game, Coug of the game. You know, if we get to a point where we could do 3, well, Ethan Sanchez got the special teams on lock pretty much, but the Cougs, the less rated Cougs defensive player of the game, the less rated Cougs offensive player of the game, brought to you by whoever. I think that's something to, work on and aim for as well. And Andy can work the graphics for it and come up with stuff like that. Dayon can too. That's something else going forward that we can do, because we're trying. We are the original. They're not still. We are the original post-game show for Houston athletics. And we have ideas of continuing to go forward and grow and get bigger. And this is a very good crowd for an afternoon. So thank you for that. And we're going to be here for the long haul. And we want you to come along with us for that ride.
Yeah, Crabtree says it's good for Houston if Colorado wins. Who Houston beat by 16 at home.
Oh, I agree with that. But overall for the conference, it's not. Yeah.
I mean, I think I'm not disagreeing with you, Kris, but I think just to EA Crabtree's point, it's definitely better for Houston. And then just looking at Houston's schedule, you win next week, you beat an Arizona State team, Houston will start to be taken serious and get some votes to be ranked themselves. Because you look at the output against Texas Tech, they were the better team, but they didn't just steam over us and just blow us out. And so Houston has established itself, okay, this is a good football team. I think the voters and everyone taking account their quarterback got hurt in the second half, but at that point, it was still a close ball game. And so Houston just take care of business week next week against Arizona, and next week against Arizona State, regardless of the outcome in Colorado or Iowa State. I think the Big 12 will still kind of get some of that good recognition.
The Big 12 is a good conference. And it's a lot better, as Crabtree states, it's a lot better than people nationally want to acknowledge. And the teams in the conference are doing their part. And it's really, all the teams can do is win and beat the people they're playing. And then hopefully at some point, the national folks will recognize it. But if they don't, just keep winning. And this year, hell, wasn't at some point early in the broadcast, one of the guys said, it wasn't Golick Jr., but the other guy said, I forgot his name, so my apologies. He said that Tech may be the most talented team in the country. He's talking about a Big 12 team. So that's a plus for the conference. So it would be great if Tech won all their games, shut up a lot of haters. Folks going to hate. That means folks are mad at Tech for buying a team, buying players. If the system allows it, so what? But if Tech keeps winning and gets to be undefeated, haters going to hate. So what? Keep winning. That goes for Tech, the Cougs, the real Cougs, not the team in the Mormons, the real Cougs, and other teams in the Big 12.
Correct.
Because I think all of us agree, everybody, me, Andy, Dayon, Crabtree, and our viewers, there'll probably be some haters who would say, whoever it is, if the Cougs went ahead and beat Tech in the Big 12 bowl game, yeah, but that means, well, how good is the conference then? Look what they're going to find anything. So what? You keep winning, everything's going to take care of itself.
They do that in the Big Ten too. UCLA beat Penn State, but they still,
Yeah.
Oh, so it's I agree, man. Let's just keep stacking these dubs and let our play on the field speak.
That'll do it, Andy. Did you freeze? You still there? Okay.
No, I'm still here.
Okay, it looked like you were reading something.
No, no, sir. I'm reading the ticker. But on that note, once again, one final shout out first to everyone that commented on the show on this Saturday afternoon. It's a little weird to do a show this early on Saturday, and we're gonna do it back to back at least. Next week
Yep.
we'll be back at about the same time when Houston takes on Arizona again. That's gonna be an 11 a.m. kickoff from TDECU Stadium, homecoming for the Houston Cougars, and hopefully they have another great turnout like they did in their last home game. The sellout, see if they can get another sellout or damn near as close to it as possible on an 11 a.m. kickoff, and we will see. It'll be a really great litmus test to see just where this Houston Cougars team ranks among the Big 12 standings. And once again, the final score from Stillwater. The Houston Cougars defeat Oklahoma State 39-17. Not to read the whole stat line again, but Connor Wegman, 21 of 30, 306 yards, two passing touchdowns. He had one rushing touchdown. Dean Connors led the team and rushing with 83 rushing yards. He had one rushing touchdown, the one receiving catch, the phenomenal one-handed catch. And then, of course, Amari Thomas led the way when it came to catches, 7 catches for 157 yards. The first player since Tank Dell in 2022 to have 150 plus yards in a game for the Houston Cougars. And the defense solid, held Oklahoma State to just 17 points and quite frankly dominated them, especially outside of the first drive when the Cowboys hit Houston to cut them off guard with the trick play. So excited, just continue to stack these wins. Houston one win away from becoming bowl eligible, and hopefully they can get that accolade next week against the Wildcats. As for us, big shout out to Mr. Steve Saxenian. Big thank you to Mr. Steve Saxenian for being the primary sponsor of this edition of Let's Rage Coogs, the original Houston postgame show, like Kris and EI Crabtree put in the comments, right? The original postgame Houston show. This is LRC presented by the Saxenian Family. Of course, a big thank you to Jennifer and Mike Pittman with Star Pizza for being a secondary sponsor on this edition of Let's Rage Coogs. Check them out at starpizza.net or on their social media platform, Star Pizza HOU or Hoop and Holler on X. And if you are interested in potentially sponsoring for future shows, like Kris mentioned, we could have a player of the game, we could have an offensive player of the game, defensive player of the game, all the things. Really, we're open for business, to quote the Big 12 commissioner. Any way, shape, or form, reach out to us. Email letsragecoogs@gmail.com. Let's see if I can put it up on the screen. There it is right there, letsragecoogs@gmail.com, all lowercase, or just reach out to any one of us on our respective platforms. And again, we're open for business. Any way, shape, or form. Basketball season's coming up here less than a month, so anything you want to get on the ground floor, let's keep going. Let's keep hitting that rock.
Agreed. And the winning will continue once basketball season starts on the men's side for sure. And I'm confident saying it's going to start coming on the women's side as well. So thank you very much, everybody, for participating in today's show. Thank you for your comments and your questions and reposting it on the platforms. You see, we're on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter, X. More outlets for you to reach your audience through Let's Rage Coogs. Thank you to Andy and Dayon and get well, Bryce. He's feeling under the weather. We're going to do it again next Saturday. Join us in the afternoon. And follow me in Houston Round Bar Review platforms as well. And I'll close it out as I do since 1994, the Houston Round Ball Review. Local name, global perspective.
Man, I'm excited to join you guys every week. I'm excited at what we're building. I'm grateful for us to be able to collaborate and continue to set trends of post shows for the Houston Cougar Athletics. And like my brother said, I mean, we're open for business. So if you like the show, you see what we're doing, help us, help Cougs, and let's continue to expand. Let's get some player of the game sponsors. Let's get even more. I mean, we're open to more ideas as well. I mean, we're not just stuck in our ideas. We're open to ideas We're open. We're looking to collaborate. And I'm excited to be a Coug. I love being a Coug. Let's take care of business next weekend at homecoming against Arizona. And let's keep supporting. Let's keep supporting this football team. Let's keep supporting our men's. And let's definitely look forward to our women's. I think they got the right staff, and they're going to turn around like Kris mentioned as well. And as always, let's go Cougs.